This is one of America's favorite cookies. Over 7 billion chocolate chip cookies are eaten every single year in the United States alone. But here's the crazy part. This cookie was never supposed to exist. It was an accident, a mistake, a recipe that went completely wrong. And the woman who made that mistake? She had no idea she was about to change dessert history forever. This is the story of Ruth Wakefield and the most delicious accident ever made. This is Meal Mysteries. Let's go back to 1930. Ruth Graves Wakefield was not your average home cook. She was a trained dietitian and food lecturer who had graduated from the Framingham State Normal School Department of Household Arts. In other words, she really knew her way around a kitchen. Ruth and her husband Kenneth had a dream: to open their own restaurant. And in 1930, they found the perfect spot, a historic building in Whitman, Massachusetts, halfway between Boston and New Bedford. The building had once been a toll house, a place where travelers stopped to pay tolls and rest their horses. So Ruth and Kenneth named their new restaurant the Toll House Inn. The Toll House Inn was special. While most roadside restaurants served basic, forgettable food, Ruth Wakefield had a different vision. She prepared home-style New England cooking with a fine dining twist. Every recipe was made from scratch. Every dish was crafted with care. Word spread quickly. The Toll House Inn became famous throughout Massachusetts. People drove from miles away just to taste Ruth's cooking. And her desserts? Legendary. Ruth published a cookbook called Toll House Tried and True Recipes, and it became a bestseller. She was a culinary celebrity before culinary celebrities existed. But in 1938, Ruth was about to make a mistake that would eclipse everything else she'd ever done. One day, Ruth was preparing a batch of butter drop cookies, a popular recipe at the inn. These were simple, classic butter cookies that her guests loved. But Ruth wanted to try something different. She wanted to make chocolate cookies. Her plan was simple. Chop up a semi-sweet chocolate bar and mix it into the dough. She expected the chocolate to melt completely during baking, spreading throughout the cookie and turning the whole thing chocolatey brown. Makes sense, right? So Ruth chopped the chocolate bar into small pieces, folded them into her butter cookie dough, and slid the tray into the oven. Then she waited. When Ruth pulled those cookies out of the oven, something was wrong. Or at least that's what she thought. The chocolate hadn't melted. Not completely, anyway. Instead of spreading throughout the cookie, the chocolate pieces had softened into gooey little pockets, holding their shape while becoming perfectly melty inside. The cookies weren't chocolate-colored. They were golden brown with dark chocolate chunks dotted throughout. This was not what Ruth had planned. But then, she tasted one. The warm, buttery cookie, the pockets of melted chocolate, the contrast of textures, the explosion of flavor. It was incredible. Ruth Wakefield had just accidentally invented the chocolate chip cookie. And she knew immediately this mistake was something special. Ruth added her new creation to the Toll House Inn menu. She called them Toll House Crunch Cookies. Guests went absolutely crazy for them. People started requesting the recipe, then demanding it. The cookies became the most talked about item at the inn. Ruth published the recipe in a Boston newspaper, then in her cookbook. And suddenly, everyone in New England was trying to make these incredible chocolate chunk cookies at home. There was just one problem. To make Ruth's cookies, you needed semi-sweet chocolate bars. And a major chocolate company noticed something very interesting. Sales of semi-sweet baking chocolate were suddenly surging, but mostly in New England. Inside a major chocolate company, analysts took notice. Why were shoppers in Massachusetts buying so much baking chocolate? They dug into reports and delivery routes, mapped the spike, and traced it back to one source: Ruth Wakefield's Inn. Representatives reached out to Ruth with a business proposal. And this is where the story gets interesting. The collaboration Ruth sparked with a major chocolate maker became a turning point in food history. Together, they worked to share her cookie recipe with home bakers across the country. Simple idea. Big reach. The recipe spread from New England kitchens to kitchens everywhere. Recipe cards, community cookbooks, and word of mouth turned curiosity into a craze that crossed state lines, and Ruth's name traveled with it. What mattered most to her was seeing people bake, share, and smile over the same warm, melty cookies she served at the inn. The partnership amplified her already rising reputation, giving the recipe national momentum and a place in American kitchen culture. For years, her name and instructions showed up in kitchens, magazines, and community books from coast to coast. For Ruth, it was about legacy, helping people bake joy at home, and honestly, it made America fall in love with chocolate chip cookies. At first, some chocolate bars included a small chopping tool so home bakers could break them into pieces like Ruth did. But in 1939, manufacturers had a better idea. They started selling the chocolate already broken into small, ready-to-use pieces. They called them chocolate chips. Packages often included a simple chocolate cookie recipe on the back. The chocolate chip cookie was officially mainstream. Within years, it became a national favorite, a status it largely keeps today. Let's fast forward to today. The chocolate chip cookie is a global phenomenon. Americans alone consume over 7 billion chocolate chip cookies per year. The original cookie's name still appears on many chocolate packages, decades after its debut. From bakery chains to packaged cookies and home kitchens everywhere, they all trace back to one woman's mistake in a Massachusetts kitchen in 1938. Ruth Wakefield passed away in 1977, but her legacy lives on in every single chocolate chip cookie ever baked. She never set out to invent anything. She just wanted to make chocolate cookies. But sometimes, the best things in life come from beautiful accidents. So let's bring it all together. Ruth Wakefield was a trained chef running a successful inn in Massachusetts. One day, she tried to make chocolate cookies by adding chopped chocolate to her butter cookie recipe. She expected the chocolate to melt completely. It didn't. Instead, she helped create one of the most beloved cookies in American history. A major chocolate company offered her a lifetime supply of chocolate for the recipe. And today, billions of chocolate chip cookies are eaten every year around the world. One woman, one mistake, one delicious legacy. The next time you bite into a warm chocolate chip cookie, remember Ruth Wakefield and the beautiful accident that started it all. Your food has secrets, and we're here to uncover them. If this story made you smile or made you hungry, smash that like button. Subscribe to Meal Mysteries and hit the notification bell so you never miss another delicious story. Drop a comment below. What's your favorite chocolate chip cookie memory? Homemade? Store-bought? We want to hear it. And if you want to see more accidental inventions that changed food forever, check out this video right here. We'll see you in the next mystery. Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to go bake some cookies.